One of the most famous murders was that of John Lennon, which was committed by David Chapman. Chapman gunned down John Lennon in front of his New York City apartment in 1980. Who is David Chapman? After going through a difficult childhood, David Chapman would become a born-again Christian. Chapman had an obsession with the legendary musicians, celebrity status, and perhaps Lennon saying he was bigger than Jesus was one of the reasons that he shot and killed Lennon on December 8, 1980. Lennon was only 40 years old. Chapman was given a sentence of 20 years to life in prison, and he has been repeatedly denied parole and remains incarcerated to this day. Chapman was born in Fort Worth, Texas on May 10, 1955. His mother was a nurse and his father was a sergeant in the United States Air Force. After a difficult upbringing and early drug experimentation, he converted to Christianity at the age of 16. Chapman attempted suicide in 1977 after relocating to Hawaii, and later he would work as a security guard and would marry Gloria Abe, a travel agent, in 1979. Lennon released a new album after several years named Double Fantasy, which was released in 1980. The former Beatle came out of hiding and returned to the public eye with this new album. Chapman bought Double Fantasy at a record store in New York on December 6, 1980. 2 days later, Chapman was waiting outside Lennon's upscale Manhattan apartment complex called the Dakota, holding the album. At around 5:50 p.m., he saw Lennon leave the building and head towards his limo. Lennon was heading to a recording session. An amateur photographer actually took a photo of a beaming Lennon kindly consenting to sign the album for Chapman. Then, oddly, Chapman set his freshly signed LP album on top of a nearby planer and waited hours for Lennon's return. Chapman then began to argue with the voices that were in his head, which he believed to be the devil.
You got an album to sign, just go. Get in the next taxi, just go, 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 go!
Don't do it.
You liar.
That's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here for.
Chapman wanted fame. He wanted to be Holden Caulfield, his favorite character from his favorite novel. He wanted to kill the phonies like Caulfield, so he made a deal with the devil to kill Lennon, so that his dreams would come true. Lennon arrived back home in his limousine at around 10:30 that night. Chapman stood by. He wanted much more than a signature this time. Chapman lifted his firearm and yelled out,
Mr. Lennon?
A voice in his head yelled out to,
Coward, coward, coward.
Chapman then fired multiple shots at Lennon as he and his wife, Yoko Ono, exited the vehicle and were walking to the main door. The musician was struck 4 times in the shoulder and back. Ono, who was standing by her husband's side, saw Lennon collapse in the doorway of his apartment. Lennon was transported to Roosevelt Hospital when he was declared dead an hour later. J.D. Salinger's novel, The Catcher in the Rye, when New York City police officers arrived on the scene.
We have arrested David Chapman.
Chapman even admitted he knew what he did was wrong, so he believed reading his favorite story would transport him into the book and away from the actions he committed. The world mourned John Lennon the next day, and thousands of distraught fans attended a vigil outside of Dakota, playing Beatles music and some of Lennon's solo hits.
I think John Lennon, personally for me, stood for as a symbol of love and peace on the planet.
I think of John Lennon as an artist, and he belongs to my generation. And I don't understand why he was killed.
Chapman's mental health received a lot of attention throughout his trial. Chapman then reversed his lawyer's initial claim of insanity by entering a guilty plea. An important piece of evidence in the case was actually his autographed album. The album, admitted by Chapman, was a distraction to get close to Lennon and blend in with the fans. When he made the decision to assassinate Lennon, Chapman said the jury believed he murdered Lennon because Chapman was a security guard living in Hawaii who just wanted to murder Lennon because he was very famous. Chapman was convicted of second-degree murder and given a 20-year to life sentence. He was mandated to receive mental health treatment while incarcerated. Chapman appeared for his 6th parole hearing after serving more than 30 years at the Wendy Correctional Facility in New York. He was told to stay in Wendy after being denied parole once more. Chapman expressed his shame about committing murder to the parole board throughout the hearing. He stated, "So this is obviously very embarrassing for me now, having committed murder," as reported by NBC News. He added that he had thought of killing the famous movie actor George C. Scott or television personality Johnny Carson rather than Lennon, but decided on the former Beatles since he was the most well-known. If Lennon was less famous than 3 or 4 other people on the list, he would not have been shot, Chapman said. Chapman was angered by Lennon saying he was bigger than Jesus, and when Lennon was a part of the Beatles, he stated the band was also bigger than God. These two actions angered Chapman and religious people who burned albums and forced Lennon to apologize. Chapman didn't accept and believe the book The Catcher in the Rye told him to kill Lennon as a part of a prophecy where he would end phoniness and fake individuals like the character Holden Caulfield from The Catcher in the Rye. Chapman believed he would then turn into the character and kill other celebrities who he saw as fake and phonies. In 2014, Chapman received his 9th parole denial. In 2018, his 10th. The panel has determined that your release would be incompatible with the welfare and the safety of society, the state board said in a letter that year outlining the reasoning. He remains married to Abe, who makes the 5,000-mile flight from Hawaii to New York to visit. Abe has noted that she hopes Ono will one day forgive her husband. Chapman also is a wannabe musician who has since apologized for killing Lennon. He desires to be a famous musician, writing and singing songs about peace, love, and forgiveness. He posts videos on YouTube and other social media content from his cell. Chapman is now 70 years old. That's it for this episode. What do you think on Mark David Chapman? What do you think about John Lennon saying he was bigger than Jesus? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think Chapman is a nut job with how he believed he was a book character? Let me know. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It greatly helps me out a lot. And please watch the video here and the playlist over here. And please just watch anything else that you seem to enjoy on my channel. And I'll see you all in the next episode.